In a dark hole beneath the earth, a giant rock golem is creating deadly havoc in a low-level dungeon, which is called the Gargoyle Golem Zone. A few people, hunters, are holding their ground, but it's pretty clear that they're being overwhelmed as their shields start to fail, and their tanks falter. The main tank tells everyone not to block the attacks head-on, and to deflect from the side. Then he tells the damage dealers to move in, who immediately do so, and begin poking down the golem. Seeing that it's being overwhelmed, the golem charges up its power, and goes berserk, boosting its power by at least 20%. The main tank tells everyone to put on their resistance amulets, and for the mages to finish it off. They won't have another shot without getting casualties, so now is the time to strike. As one mage prepares a mighty blast, he tells someone he calls a mana shuttle to do his damn work, as his mana is getting low. Seo Hanjun, a hunter-dealer class in level 29, immediately agrees. He begins pouring mana from his body and charges in toward the mage, who thinks this is really nice. With this much mana, they can take down even a king golem. As the berserker golem charges in, the mage unleashes a mighty lightning strike that shatters the golem whole. As Hanjun takes a breather after the fight, the tank notes that his contribution was rather low today, so he should help dismantle. As he walks off, one of the other men wonders why he's only doing support from the back, if this guy is a dealer. Another tells him that this guy has no skills, but he can generate an infinite amount of mana. The first guy is surprised. Infinite mana regeneration. Isn't that like a crazy good skill on its own? The guy in the middle scoffs. What's the point of infinite mana? Even mages and healers have mana absorption skills. Unless it's a boss fight that needs a ton of mana, this thing is pretty useless. The mage from before agrees. That's why this guy is still level 30, even after 5 years of being a hunter. No matter how low the level is, a hunter's stats are naturally higher than a regular person's. And Hanjun can hear them, making him want to quit, although he knows he can't. Back at the Daihyun Guild, Hanjun gets some pretty bad news, and he goes to the director with it. He wants him, a hunter, to go to work in the production department. The director confirms this fact. He might not know, but there is no one left who wants to hunt with him anymore. However, at level 29, solo hunting is an impossible venture. He doesn't have any useful skills either, and the only skills he has are infinite mana too. Hanjun makes the point that at least he is supplying enough mana for hunting. If he just pushes a little more, the director tells him to be serious. Even healers and mages have mana absorption skills. They are not of much help in most parties. Does he really think anything will change after level 30? They thought long and hard about this for him. His ability is better suited for the mana potion division, helping with production and all. Hanjun asks what will happen if he refuses. Will he be kicked out of the guild? And the director, unfortunately, confirms as such. He is sorry, but they cannot keep someone in a guild who has hit a growth wall. Naturally, Hanjun quit. He sits down on a bench with a little breakfast, and thinks that he became unemployed overnight. His skill is known to supply members with infinite mana, but his real skill, which has been kept hidden all this time, is pretty unique. Surprisingly, he got this skill before he even became a hunter. It is this, a copy skill. It's Control plus C, Control plus V. This skill lets him copy and paste any target. It's an unheard of skill, so after awakening as a hunter, he had huge expectations, but it did not take him long to realize that this was a dud skill after all, because it only works on himself. After something leaves his hand, it disappears like some sort of mirage. So money copying, gear copying for resale, everything like that, can't work. It's even more annoying that there's a level restriction for copying equipment. So, if he tries to copy a level 90 dagger, he can't, because his retin is insufficient. Even what he claims to have is him copying and pasting the measly mana he absorbed. Once pasted, the mana doesn't disappear and gets transferred into another hunter. He tried copying his skills beforehand, but it always requires rare monster details to do so. If he had just leveled up a bit more, and copied some high-tier gear, he could have dominated hunts with ease. This sword has 2 unique skill slots, and a defense buff effect too. What makes this sword even more unique is that it has its own level. Once one wields it, they instantly get a level 200 boost. And the main reason he wants this sword is that it can be equipped starting at level 30. For a legendary sword, it has surprisingly low level sensitivity. If he can copy this, he can jump to level 230 in no time. That's why this sword is crucial. It will be displayed in Korea in a week, as it's no longer useful for a hunt. The reason is simple. The durability is down to 10, meaning it will only survive 1 or 2 more hunts at most. For him, however, this is a golden opportunity. With just one touch, he will be able to copy it endlessly. If he can just hit level 30 in a week, he can copy it and be a demigod. A few days later, he goes to the giant spider rest area with another guild. However, this dungeon is an unregistered one. He does what he does best, topping up the mages with mana, who in turn use that infinite mana of his to take down beast after beast. Hanjun thinks that leveling really is everything. As he looks around in his inventory, gets surprised by someone else who asks if he thinks leveling up like this will really work. Hanjun denies it. He's preparing something before the boss fight. The guy walks off, noting that he doesn't need to prepare for anything. You just make sure to pay the bus ride later. But Hanjun tells him he's not a Scrooge. This is his guild junior, Park Ki-young, who is a DPS hunter. He joined these unofficial hunts to make money early on. Even on an unregistered dangerous hunt, he got to hitch a ride with a high-level dungeon bus. The leader tells them that once the dismantling is over, they will head deeper. The boss's room is right ahead, so they should finish this hunt and then grab a drink. Eventually, they get to the giant spider room, where the boss seems to be protecting her eggs. This is Alexa, the boss of the giant spider lair, which is a level 80 boss. Hanjun is a little freaked out, as that thing is pretty intimidating. Just being touched by its foot might kill him, right? Yang tells him that he is not the one fighting it, so why is he freaking out? Hunting a giant spider isn't that hard, but there is something he should be careful about. First, that web. Once he gets caught, even a level 200 monster can't move away from them. And those eggs in the nest, if they break, the giant spider goes berserk, so he should keep an eye on them. When the giant spider does go berserk, it's scarier than any other monster. Suddenly, the idiot mage from before asks Yang why he is giving a full tutorial to the boss. They really do not have time to educate an idiot, and splitting the boss fee barely leaves anything anyway. He kicks a rock in frustration, but that rock goes into one of the webs, which naturally, Alexa notices and screams out at them with a loud roar before charging one of her legs to attack. The tank calls the mage an idiot, as he woke up the boss before they could get prepared, and blocks the first strike before chopping off Alexa's leg roughly, surprisingly having enough power to do so. He tells everyone to get away from here, or they are going to die. They should watch out for the webs and eggs, as he will deal with this. With that, as he keeps aggro, the damages begin charging at Alexa. Hanjun has covered behind the pillar, but thinks that these guys are taking down the giant spider like it's a mosquito or something. If this goes really well, he might just even hit level 35 from the giant spider alone. Suddenly, Alexa turns around and prepares to shoot her web, and the tank tells everyone to get behind the pillars as fast as they can, but the idiot mage refuses. They've hunted the giant spiders before, right? He tells everyone to dodge, as he will use fire magic on that web. Alexa shoots out a bunch of webbing, making an entire spider web, and the fireball of the idiot mage doesn't even go through. It is getting blocked somehow. He thinks that this is humiliating. He will show it, and hit it again and again, no matter how many times he has to, in order to prove that his fire is better than a bug's webs. Hanjun tells him to wait, although he doesn't listen and keeps spamming fireballs. The tank then calls him an idiot. What if he breaks their eggs too? Although Hanjun has already seen that it is too late. More than one egg is cracked. So the tank tries to tell everyone to get out of here now, but he suddenly gets encased in webbing, making him unable to move. Yang goes past Hanjun and tells him to get behind the pillars now. When this thing goes berserk, it will cover absolutely everything in web. Sure enough, it begins spamming the webs again and again, hitting Yang and the idiot mage too, who screams out as his fireballs couldn't even penetrate these weak-ass webs, as if she heard him or something. Alexa turns to him, and he can only scream as she puts an end to his miserable life. Hanjun is caught too, and he damns it all as Alexa begins to approach him slowly, and lets out a low hiss as she looks at him. He just tried to play it safe with low-level dungeons, and now he is about to die for a single level up. Before he can think more, Alexa raises one of her legs up and crashes it into him, cutting him in half and ending his life on the spot. However, Hanjun has one trick up his sleeve, that being the copy-paste. This ability is not entirely useless after all, as he can displace himself pretty well. Other things might disappear when he copies and pastes them, but he doesn't. That's why, in a dungeon, he makes a copy of himself as a precaution. It's like a game. If he dies, he automatically gets pasted back, and his corpse disappears. But no matter how many times he sees it, he can't get used to it. Right now though, this is what can save him. Alexa immediately kills him again, giving him no respite, and forcing him to copy-paste once more. Eventually, he makes his way towards the pillar, allowing him to hide for a moment. No matter how many times he copies and pastes himself though, he can't get out of here. There has to be something. Suddenly though, he hears the shocked murmurs of Yang, who is somehow alive. However, he can't do anything. He apologizes, but he has no choice. During this chance, he will offer Yang a distraction so he can get out of here. However, as Alexa charges towards the murmuring Yang, Hanjun damns himself, as he cannot beat a senior who swindled a bus fare from a junior. He crashes his weak blade into Alexa's leg, which doesn't even make a dent, but it is enough to change the direction of her attack. However, this is also enough for him to level up, and he wonders why his attack worked somehow. Before he can think more, Alexa kills him again from behind, but he now knows that if he levels up, all he needs to do is paste the Calixia Dragon's longsword. He thinks that if he cannot escape, he'll kill this thing, even if he has to die 1,000 times. Even if he only makes a tiny scratch in those deaths, that's more than enough. He has copy-paste. Now it's a race against time. 3 whole days later, after 50 deaths spanning 3 days and nights, and with all the weapons of his party members having broken, he has achieved tremendous growth, now being able to cut off Alexa's legs, something he could not even imagine beforehand. On the other hand, the giant spider has become more and more beaten, and it's on its last legs. Fortunately for him, it has no healing abilities. Suddenly, Alexa turns around and begins spamming him with web, unleashing a similar attack to the one that wiped the party before. But he dodges as he had to visit the other world 4 times because of this silk, so he knows its patterns. Then, Alexa tries to hit him with a back leg, but he dodges and begins to climb it, allowing him access to her head. He lets out a primal roar as he strikes, telling her to just die already. But unfortunately, as he strikes, his sword shatters, and he falls down on his back thinking that this thing was so cheap, he didn't even get to copy-paste it. He should report the scum he bought it from for work endangerment. Alexa roars at him, but suddenly, before she can do anything, a surge of power overflows through her, and she dies in an instant. Hanjun lies on his back thinking that he finally took her down. She shouldn't be bitter about dying to a low-level player. Because of this achievement, he levels up a lot of times, and the reward item is given too. But Hanjun doesn't even look at the reward. He grabs Yang, telling him to get a grip. Suddenly though, as he walks with him in tow, he gets struck by something, the giant spider offspring, which has just hatched from the eggs. This is bad, as Hanjun doesn't even have a sword right now. He is fine, but if Yang dies here, it really is over. Seeing the hatchlings approach, he decides to defend Yang with his body, but before the first hatchling can even strike, it's taken out in an instant by being cut in half. The other hatchlings immediately redirect their attention to this new attacker, and they all jump her at once, but before they can even approach her, she unleashes Hellfire, taking them out instantly. Hellfire is the highest level fire magic. There is few magic-based hunters in the world can cast this as a non-incantation spell. If Hanjun's memory serves him right, there is only one such person in South Korea, a sword magician wielding a staff sword called Witchblade. She's ranked 5th among South Korean hunters. This is Hang Ji-young, a level 450 sword magician and team leader of the Hunter Association audit team. She asks if they are the only ones left alive, and Hanjun confirms as such. She can see for herself that the rest are dead. However, she is confused seeing the baby spiders emerge from the broken eggs, and the fact that high-level players were wiped out by a berserk state. He managed to survive in such a boss room, and on top of that, he saved his comrade too. He seems like a low-level hunter, so what on earth happened here? They go back to the Korean Hunter Association, and Hanjun is immediately put in the investigation office meeting room too. He thinks of Ji-young. If she hadn't arrived, he doesn't know what would have happened, and the dungeon entrance supervisor who reported it, he really saved their hide. She says it's fine. It's just one of the Hunter Association's many tasks. She has submitted the items from the giant green spider and written a report. This is his share, and he can go back now. Hanjun wonders, is this really it? Is this the end of the high-level party wipeout and dungeon bus incident? Ji-young is confused. What does he need more? Dungeon deaths. Incidents like these occur several times a day. The yearly death count is in the tens of thousands, if not more. They need to have death reports signed in advance on the entry forms too, basically signing their death warrant before even starting work. As for the dungeon buses, well, their Hunter Association turns a blind eye to low-level hunters paying for rides to high-level dungeons for leveling up. Desiring to become stronger is a base instinct for hunters after all. And even though this is illegal, it's also a means of training. Does he have any questions or something? Hanjun says he doesn't. It's actually pretty cool. It's actually refreshing. He turns to leave, but she points out that the amount for the King Spider item distribution will be submitted to his bank account soon. Hanjun refuses. He should give all of his share to his junior, as he will definitely need it more than he. With that, he walks away, Ji-young noting that he's pretty cool himself. However, she just doesn't get it. Just because of luck, a low-level hunter survived alone in a high-level dungeon? This Hanjun is definitely hiding something, but she doesn't know what. Naturally, he didn't give out his sum to Ji-young as a charity case. He was actually able to copy the giant spider silk several times. It seems that fighting it for 3 days really was worth it. A few hours ago, the reward for the giant spider subjugation appeared, the giant spider silk, which has the same effect as the spider's web. When it's activated by the user, it provides powerful adhesive properties for a certain period. Usable after level 40, Hanjun was disappointed, as this sounded just like some sticky thread he could use now and again. How many times did he die for another useless item? He'll probably catch some bugs while camping in a dungeon though. For now, he wants to copy and paste it. He does so, but suddenly it disappears entirely, confusing him before the system announced that the giant spider silk was absorbed into his existing skill, as his Control plus V's attributes have grown. Hanjun was surprised. So copying and pasting can actually enhance skills? He can see now that Control plus C has grown, but it's blocked, and Control plus V has a new skill with 3 new options having been generated. Both were previously unupgradable, but did absorbing the giant spider silk item make it possible somehow? So, absorbing items that meet the conditions allows for growth? Well, this really is incredible. He wants to see what the new options are, so he presses the button, and he is surprised by what he sees. Option 1 is that he can paste the copied object, and keep it for as long as he wants. Option 2 is that he can stitch whatever object he wants for a certain period of time. As option 3, he can unlock the giant spider thread. Hanjun thought this skill of his was a dud, but to turn out like this, it really is fortuitous. He tries testing it out and summons the spider silk for 1 minute. Sure enough, it doesn't disappear even if he lets go of it, and only does so after the past minute. Seeing money in his future, Hanjun immediately begins spamming the ability, maintaining the summons for 30 minutes, for 100 years, 1,000, even 1,000,000 years. That is why he is currently laughing to himself like a maniac. From now on, he is going to be a wealthy and successful hunter, walking down the path of fortune. Now, he just needs to copy and paste Calixia's dragon longsword. 2 hours ago, on the Rainbow Bridge in Tokyo, a large truck protected by 4 black vehicles was making its way inside. Grant, a member of the International Hunters Association, asked the driver, "How many times has she come to Japan before?" Aries, a level 131 mage, member of the International Hunters Association, explained that she has been here twice. Grant noted that she said previously that this was her mother's hometown, but Aries didn't really care. Grant also asked whether she had applied for a vacation or something, and she confirmed that she had. She added that there was something to be found in the Japanese dungeon after all. Grant noted it would be nice if she found it, but Aries told him to mind his business. One of the guards from the black vehicles called out, "The lead car is currently passing through the Rainbow Bridge dungeon. We will lose all communication for about 5 minutes due to the dungeon's electromagnetic waves." Grant looked out the window, finding the idea of a dungeon right above the sea romantic, but Aries told him to stop playing around. This would be a complete disaster if it were to collapse. Grant thought she was way too boring, and he didn't care about her threats of violence, as she was going to do it anyway. Meanwhile, inside the Rainbow Bridge dungeon, the Access Management Office, Shinoda Satoru, a member of the Great Sage Guild, yawns as managing the entrance of the dungeon is really boring. His teammate knows he only got here because of his connections. It was difficult to manage here until about 3 weeks ago. Suddenly a slime bumps into Satoru's leg. It seems small and frail, and he picks it up gently, noting it's way cuter than the ones you see in a dungeon. Is it really right for them to be outside the dungeon? His teammate immediately becomes afraid, saying this really shouldn't have happened, and then a large thing bumps into him, a gigantic troll that shatters them in an instant. Hanjun looks at his stats. He knew his skill points would all go up after defeating that giant king spider, and with just a bit more, he will reach level 50 in no time. Hunters who make it past level 50 usually have an easier time getting into hunting parties. If they include low-level dungeons for beginners, the monsters in the intermediate levels are usually above that. In these intermediate dungeons, you can get more experience points and rewards, and from time to time, some rare items. He is pleased with this. First, he should make a copy of the giant king spider's parts into sticks, right? Suddenly, a bunch of people rush through the hall, as apparently a dungeon collapsed all of a sudden. Hanjun wonders if they are talking about a dungeon break. Another explains that the trailer carrying the legendary longsword that was set to go on display was caught up in this. Apparently, it's an official cooperation request from the International Hunter Association. Hanjun immediately gets annoyed that the Calixia longsword was cut up in the dungeon break. What kind of luck does he have? On the Hunter Association rooftop, a bunch of Hellas are gathered. The hunters, as requested, have also called in assistance from the other guilds. Their top priority now is to protect the trailer carrying the longsword. Sensing the panic, Ji-young notes that she is the team leader and will be giving out the instructions. The association's hunters' top priorities are to defeat the monster and rescue any civilians. This is an emergency, so we will discuss the sword later. Before boarding, she sees a commotion at the stairs leading up to the rooftop. They all looked on to see that it was actually Hanjun, who had been screaming at Ji-young to let him come along. She was surprised to see him, and he explained that he wanted to go too. If he could help defeat the monsters, that could at least help with evacuating civilians. Is this not a situation where they need all the help they can get? Seeing his resolve, Ji-young decided to bring him along, since he also prioritized helping his junior back in the giant spider's lair. For someone who went through a great deal of pain thanks to the dungeons, he probably doesn't want that happening to other people. He's a good person. Hanjun just nods with a smile, but she is completely wrong. He came here purely, 100%, out of selfish reasons. It just so happens that their roads are connected. Another hunter thinks it's strange that the Rainbow Bridge dungeon hasn't been stabilized for 3 weeks, yet it broke. Shouldn't it have been maintained by the bigger guilds? Ji-young says it's not surprising at all. Anything can happen in a world like theirs. A building that has collapsed once, and has been rebuilt, has no guarantee that it will not collapse again. That is why they've been mobilized to prevent this. To prevent a repetition of the great disaster 15 years ago. A weary silence falls after she mentions this. Hanjun thinks about it. She's talking about the simultaneous outbreaks. A dungeon break with a scale comparable to a natural disaster that swept through an entire city. When a dungeon's monsters aren't cleared regularly, the dungeon becomes saturated and collapses. When that happens, the monsters that escape the dungeon start attacking civilians, making it hellish. He lost his parents to a disaster like that. To that disaster specifically. He hasn't told anyone since he has a hard time believing it himself. He saw a transcendent being from another dimension appear, and it cursed him with this ability. That being called the curse a gift, and said only one thing: 20 years. He still doesn't know if it meant the skill's expiration date, or his lifespan. Even now, the scent of the cursed hourglass on his neck continues to fall. That being appeared because of the great disaster. It might mean that when it appears again, another disaster will occur. So that means there are only 5 years left. He knows how to evolve his skills now. He'll become stronger than any hunter out there, and find a way to prevent that disaster, and perhaps even lift the curse on him. At the Rainbow Bridge, Disaster is unfolding as monsters attack civilians and hunters alike. Satoru watches, worried they do not have enough hunters to protect anyone. A goblin suddenly attacks him from behind, but he takes it out. Another goblin drops down from above, and the companion he is with kills it by throwing his sword and telling Satoru not to look away. Satoru thanks him, and the older man warns him not to let his guard down, saying he will not forgive him next time. Satoru agrees, thinking the man is pretty rough with his words, but he calls him a Nepo recruit. The older man has protected him before, first from the troll, and now from the goblins. Satoru asks if there has been any word on reinforcements. The man replies that all communications are jammed by the dungeon's electromagnetic waves, but he is sure everyone has noticed something strange, and they are probably on their way as they speak. They should be crossing the bridge, so they can meet the reinforcements sooner. Satoru wonders if they can go that way, but the man believes it is better than getting killed by monsters here. With that, they continue. The blue truck holding the longsword is attacked by a bear mon king, a level 190 bear-type monster. Grant asks Ares if the trailer will be alright. Ares understands where he is coming from, but she reassures him her defense magic cannot be penetrated, even by a level 400 monster. Suddenly, they all hear a gigantic roar that causes the bridge to crumble even faster. Ares knows even the highest level of defense magic would not be able to defend against that. They all look up as something rises out of the sea. Ji-young's team also sees it, the boss monster of the Rainbow Bridge dungeon, Quasia. That thing should not have been here. The boss unleashes a deafening strike on the bridge, shattering it completely, or at least half of it, as it stands above the other. Hanjun can't believe it. The dungeon's final boss just blew up the damn bridge. How will the longsword be safe with this much going on? The Quasia sees the two carriers approach from above, and immediately attacks with a devastating blow that completely shreds one of the carriers, making Ji-young's team jump out. As she lands, she explains that with the appearance of the final boss of the dungeon, they will be changing their strategy. From this moment on, the association team will focus on attacking Quasia. Everyone agrees, and Ji-young looks around, not seeing Hanjun anywhere. A faint smirk tags at her lips, however, as she thinks it will be fine. That guy will probably not die from something like this. She just has that feeling. Immediately, she unleashes hellfire on Quasia, making the beast stumble back a bit. Hanjun, who is right below, thinks that hellfire is still impressive, even after seeing it again. Someday he really wants to copy that skill. He releases the giant spider thread he caught himself on, and begins running, as now copying the longsword of Calixia is his top priority. Somewhere else, however, a group of masked men are running toward the same position. One of them tells their captain that they weren't informed about Quaxia's appearance in advance. Is this not dangerous for us? The captain denies it. On the contrary, this is perfect. Ji-young and those association bastards with her will be completely occupied with the boss. Catching the boss is the fastest way to close a dungeon break after all. This will allow them to get their hands on the longsword of Calicia Dragon. Now they will all go into stealth so the monsters don't see them. As Hanjun walks around, he sees a lot of monster corpses. It must have been the work of a hunter. The problem is that these monsters are moving in packs, so this just doesn't feel right. Suddenly, he sees who made those corpses. Satoru, who took down another wolf creature by himself. His senior calls him an idiot, and says he can't understand simple instructions. When he told him to run, he should have run. Satoru refuses to leave him. He will not let him die. Hanjun watches from a nearby car, wondering if they are the dungeon management hunters. He shouldn't worry about it. He's got his own problems after all. He is sure they will manage. The senior, however, begins screaming, calling Satoru a fool. Does he know why that thing is in a high-level dungeon? Even though it's low-level, when they swarm, even high-level hunters cannot hope to deal with them. If a couple of those beasts have shown up, that means this place is already swarming with them. Sure enough, an entire legion of wolf-like monsters appears. Individually, they have low levels, but they attack in packs and move in groups of at least 20 to 30. Satoru is shocked, but he refuses to stand down. His senior got injured while protecting him, so from now on, he will protect him, and they will both get out of here. Hearing this, Hanjun's mind immediately goes back to when he rescued Yang, seeing a bit of himself in the now cornered Satoru. The first Wolfmon charges at him, allowing Satoru to take it down easily. Another from behind rushes in with its claws, but he deflects this strike and lunges his sword into the wolf's neck. This puts him in a precarious position, as the third Wolfmon rushes in from behind, and this is an attack that he cannot hope to defend against. Before he can get beaten, Hanjun rushes in and shoulder strikes the wolf, making it crash to the ground violently. He asks Satoru if he's okay, and Satoru confirms. There are still too many wolves to deal with, and he really appreciates his help, but they need to get out of here now. Even high-level hunters will die facing such a mob. Hanjun notes that this is perfect, confusing Satoru. Instead of running away, Hanjun pulls out his inventory, a bit annoyed that he couldn't put this up for auction. If the giant spider's stickiness merges with his skill, he is curious to see how effective it will be against an entire mob. The legion of wolfmans jumps on him, seemingly overtaking his entire presence and eating him, making Satoru flinch in horror. Hanjun begins copying the giant spider silk together with the skill option too, making tons of webbing go around and twirl around the wolfmans. incapacitating them one after another, as they are not able to do anything before he creates an entire mountain of silk and dead wolfmans. He levels up a few times, but he's a little ticked off. It's a binding skill, so leveling up is slow, as expected, though it's amazing against swarms of mobs. He needs to find a way to follow up after binding them too. Satoru is shocked. How did he take down all those wolfmans in one go? Just what kind of skill is that? Could this be a unique skill from a higher level hunter? The senior thanks Hanjun for his help, and asks if he could take Satoru with him. Satoru refuses, saying he will go with the senior even if it kills him. The senior tells him that it's safer to go with Hanjun, and that he should stop acting like a fool, and realize what is going on. Hanjun is shocked by this guy's adamancy about dying with his senior, but he sighs. Either way, they're both in a dangerous state. It's a shame, but he should give them this at least. He copied it after all. He pulls out a medium potion and gives it to them, noting that they may not be able to fight, as it doesn't give their stamina back. However, they should still be able to move around. The senior is shocked. Why is he giving them something this expensive? Hanjun just smiles and tells him that it's because he needs to get out of here alive with his junior. Satoru is immediately awestruck and bows his head, thanking him very much. He introduces himself and asks if he could at least tell him his name, so he can repay the favor. Hanjun stops and tells him that there is no need for names. He can repay the favor now. He is looking for the International Hunter Association trailer. Could they guide him to it, perhaps? Satoru is kind of puzzled, as he did not expect to meet a hunter who is bad with directions. At the trailer, Grunt and Ares take down the Bearmon, with Grant noting that she just put him to sleep, didn't she? Is she a hunter who practices non-violence, perhaps? Before she can respond, however, Grant spots an orb flying towards them, and he immediately cuts it up with his blade. He scoffs, knowing that there'd be people aiming for the sword in this chaos. It's not like this is his first time dealing with thieves, so they should come out while they still can. Ares' eyes widen as the thieves come out, with their leader noting that he is rather quick on the uptake. Well, they should see if he is quick in other ways too. He jumps in, clashing his blade with Grant, who barely manages to block the blow. He thought they were easy targets, didn't he? Because they were on guard duty for the exhibit. He throws the thief away and rushes in towards him, but Ares tells him to stop. However, it's too late, and Grant falls on his knees, throwing up a bunch of blood. He wonders what the hell happened, and she explains that they used a poison item that blocks mana from the beginning. If he tries to absorb mana, he might die. Like just now. The leader is pleased. At least the little mage seems to have noticed something. It's not that they underestimated them, it's just what they always do. Ares gets it. They wanted to make it easier using poison items that the International Hunter Association strictly forbids, right? If that's the case, she is going to make this as hard and as uncomfortable for them. As she prepares a spell, another mage from the thieves group notes that she is a mage without mana. What can she do? She should just die already, as they will have that longsword one way or the other. Before the mage can unleash a spell, his head is simply blown off by none other than the Burman, which she has released from his sleep. He is now extremely mad at the people around it. The Burman immediately begins clashing into the thieves, crushing them without prejudice with his sharp claws. The leader can't believe something like this. She put the Bearman to sleep instead of killing it? She has to be crazy. For now, he will get out of here because this mission is a failure. The Bearman, having taken care of the small fry, turn to the other two, ready to strike them down as well. Grant guesses it's their turn now. This guy can't be put to sleep again, right? Ares confirmed this. She knows he knows that she can't absorb mana right now. Grant sighs. He told her one day that her non-violence would get her killed, and it seems that today is the day. Ares smiles, agreeing, but he won't have to die with her. She suddenly jumps in and unleashes a spell despite the mana blockage around them. Grant screams at her, demanding to know what she is doing, but she still charges in. Ares is coughing up a great deal of blood. As expected, she cannot absorb mana no matter what. She tried to put the Bearman to sleep. However, she just ended up sacrificing herself for nothing. As the claws reach her, she apologizes to Grant. As she died, a fool. Suddenly though, Hanjun copies a target, and she stares wide-eyed as something happens in front of her. What happened is that Hanjun tied up the Bearmon using the silk. At first, he tied up the bear's appendages before tying it up completely, binding it completely, and tying it off efficiently. Satoru is amazed. He took down the Bearmon King in just one hit. He really is amazing. It's like an older brother of sorts, which Hanjun hates. They don't even look alike, and he's not that old either. Satoru, however, saved his life, and his senior's life. That makes him his older brother. Hanjun just gives up arguing with his twisted logic and asks the two in front if they're okay. Are they from the International Hunter Association? Ares is a bit too stunned to speak. However, Grant holds himself on his blade, asking if they are after the sword. Hanjun denies it, even though it's rather true, and notes that they are here to help protect it. Grant, however, doesn't think of trusting him. He's asking him to trust someone after they just got attacked by thugs. Hanjun looks around, and now that he sees it, those corpses are from bandits. They probably came for the longsword and got wrecked by the Burman King, right? This really is a mess, judging by their looks. He's lucky he didn't get sliced up now. Seeing his older brother in danger, Satoru intervenes, asking how dare they. He saved them from drowning. Now they are treating him like a thief. This guy is a hunter from the Hunter Korean Association, and they're the dungeon management hunters here. Hanjun likes this, as this is the perfect play, but he pushes it further. It's time to solidify things. He opens his inventory and takes 2 mid-tier potions, noting that they should take these, as they don't look that great. He is offering them a replica of pretty amazing potions that do exactly the same as the originals. This is an investment that he is willing to take if it gets him to the longsword. The 2 take them, and Ares looks at the Burman King, seeing that it's still alive and not really dead. Suddenly though, a bunch of air carriers and helicopters appear, with the senior noting that it appears the support guilds are finally arriving. Satoru wonders if this means they are safe, but the senior doesn't think so. Hunters are a tricky bunch, especially when those big guilds will see that. Sure enough, the carriers and the helicopters are going towards the boss, and Ji-young tells everyone to cease fire as it's about to enter Phase 3. That means it will start unleashing an AoE shockwave. Now that the support guilds are here, they need to stall until all the citizens are evacuated. Everyone understands, but suddenly someone else speaks, asking when they can close the dungeon. He greets her, noting that it's been a while. This is Kuma Hyun, Dark Mage Hunter with a level of 503, and the Guild Master of Future Guild. She sees him raise up his wand, and looks back at the Keishia, where a very large magic circle has opened. She tells him to stop right now if he uses that, because if he doesn't kill it now, it will rampage and cause a lot of damage, and put people in danger too. Ma Hyun doesn't care when she makes kimchi. The association took all the credit for killing that boss, so now it's his chance. This time, he will kill the boss himself, and make it drop all the loot. He unleashes a gigantic dark lightning, and Ji-young screams at everyone to get back, which they do, barely surviving the AoE attack of Ma Hyun. This attack, however, doesn't kill the Keishia, which throws its body against the bridge, shattering it once again. The place where the caravan was, is shattered too. Hanjun was barely able to save himself, everyone else, and the truck. He thinks it's okay since the trailer is safe, but that's when the Keishia stomps its head onto the bridge, seemingly defeated. He stops himself from gasping in shock, and wonders why this happened. Who was able to take such a beast down in such a short moment? Ma Hyun appears hovering next to Hanjun, and notes that it appears there is a survivor next to the Keishia. It seems he is a low-rank hunter from this area, and he'll commend him for surviving this long. He is not as much of a worm as the others. Hanjun has seen that emblem on this man's chest before. It's the Future Guild, one of the 3rd largest guilds in Korea. He must be here with the other support guilds. But isn't rescuing civilians and handling monsters the top priority right now? Ma Hyun doesn't know about that. Rescue civilians? Handle monsters? It seems that all of the surviving civilians have already fled. Earlier, besides Keishia, he detected something annoying breathing around here. A monster. It appears that this is it, the Burman King, and it's covered in giant spider web. He didn't expect anyone to have such an ability. With one tap, he shreds the web apart before doing the same to the Burman King, killing the beast instantly. Hanjun is shocked. This web can restrain level 200 monsters and suspend a 20-ton trailer with ease, but he snapped it away with one finger and killed a monster too. Could Keishia have been taken down by this guy as well? Hanjun levels up because of his contribution, but he does not get the Burman King's bounty award. Ma Hyun listens in, and hears the sound of leveling up. It appears he took down a weak mob, and leveled up. He apologizes. He was being rude. He didn't expect such a weak-looking thing like him to handle both webs and mobs at his level. He accidentally stole his kill and got the reward, right? He throws the reward to the ground. It's a Burman King's claw. He doesn't need this junk, so he should take it. Hanjun is a bit annoyed, but before he can say anything, Ji-young appears, glad to see that he is alive. Ma Hyun sees this. They know each other, huh? So they are both from the association. This is starting to feel even more messed up than before. Ji-young asks if something happened, and Hanjun stifles his anger, noting that it is nothing. Ji-young explains that the support team is evacuating civilians. They should join them as well. When it wakes up, Keishia will unleash an AoE attack. Hanjun wonders why they're not taking it down now. It seems like a good chance, doesn't it? Ji-young shakes her head, noting that this is not possible. When a boss monster's HP drops below 1/3, it uses a so-called ultimate move. It's either Berserk or an AoE attack, both of which are wide area affecting mid-bosses or lower-level bosses. Usually they only go into Berserk mode. In this case, they only need to focus on the boss itself, so they wouldn't need to split into phases. A final boss like Keishia has a huge HP range, and uses both Berserk and AoE attack, so they divide the battle into phases. During Phase 3, the boss feels threatened, and launches a full-scale attack to obliterate everything around it. Now that Keishia is in Phase 3, it will absorb all the mana around while shielding itself with a barrier. During this time, no physical or magical attack would ever work. Sure enough, the Keishia wakes up a little earlier than expected, but Ma Hyun thinks that this is perfect. He will turn this bastard into a loot piñata. Before he can unleash the AoE, the Keishia rises up and screams with the attack, with Ji-young telling Hanjun that she trusts him to survive this one too. Ma Hyun isn't that confident in him. It would be tough to survive, so he shouldn't blame himself if he dies. Low-level hunters dying in dungeons is more common than car accidents after all. With that, the two elite hunters both charge in. Hanjun thinks about the Burman king and about Ma-hyun. He runs away, noting that he never saw his attack coming, and he wants to be the one who kills Koishia. He will give that kill-stealer Ma-hyun a taste of his own medicine. He groups up with the others. Satoru is surprised that he saved them again, and Ares is analyzing the web that he used. Hanjun turns to the two who were defending the longsword and knows that this is a difficult request. However, the situation is dire. The Keishia has entered Phase 3 and is about to use its attack move. If that happens, it's all over. They may not recover the trailer or the longsword. Before that, he wants to kill the Keishia, and to do that, he needs the Kalisha Dragon longsword. He swears it upon his very soul that he will return it to them both after he kills the Keishia. Grant tells him that this is absurd. He thinks he can take down a boss monster, and it's unreasonable to trust him, even if he helped twice. Ares agrees it is impossible, and Hanjun knew this was a stretch. If the trailer gets destroyed by this attack, however, the sword will be gone. Ares also asks that they need a lot of mana to unseal the trailer, but they can't absorb mana because of the poison from those bastards. Grant asks why she's telling him this. Does she really plan to open it for him? Hanjun tells them that's not a problem, because his dungeon nickname was the Mana Shuttle. One of his skills is called Unlimited Mana Regeneration, after all. Sure enough, he uses it on Ares, and she is filled with mana, overflowing to the brim. With that, she unseals the trailer, letting it open. With that, Hanjun jumps toward it, vowing to keep his promise. Grant looks down and asks Ares why she did that. If this guy has bad intentions, they could lose the sword. She thinks it's fine. He tied up the Burman king without killing it earlier. Grant just sighs and massages the back of his head. She is very consistent with the people she trusts, it seems. Hanjun opens the trailer and sees that the longsword is there. Now he just needs a little more time. Before he can do anything, however, the thief leader from before appears behind him. He was just monitoring to report on this failed operation, but it seems that he should thank him for being such a fool. Suddenly, he manifests a blade from behind him, and before Hanjun can react, the thief leader impales him, shocking the others, as they certainly didn't expect this. Hanjun falls to the ground, seemingly dead, and the thief leader looks at the longsword. He certainly didn't expect it to get it like this, but he does not mind one bit. The giant spiderweb that was holding the trailer in place deactivates upon Hanjun's death, and this makes the trailer plunge into the deep, dark waters, leaving them both in a rather precarious position. Naturally, Hanjun copies himself in the back of the thief leader, noting that it's the same for him. He never imagined he'd get his hands on the longsword in such a way. Suddenly, he strikes the thief leader in the chest, impaling him with a sword. He is someone who doesn't easily forget favors or grudges. When somebody hits him, he hits him right back. He takes out his blade, letting the team leader fall to the ground, and grabs the longsword at last. The Calixia Dragon longsword he has dreamed of all this time is finally in his hands. The system asks if you would like to copy it, and he immediately agrees. However, his world crashes on him as the system announces that his level is too low to copy this item. How can this be true? He can equip the longsword at level 30, right? And he is above level 50 now, so why can't he copy it? The thief leader speaks, noting that this was cutting it close. He nearly disgraced the name of the Blood Tower Guild. He strikes Hanjun again on the back roughly, creating a deep gash that makes him fall to the ground. The thief leader is impressed. If he didn't have healing skills, he would be dead now. Well, he should return the favor he mentioned earlier. He is also the kind of person who repays a grudge tenfold. That is, to ensure he never sees another sunrise. He will end him with the sword of his dreams. He should be honored. As Hanjun dies again, he damns it all. He finally got this far, and now he can't even grab the sword. The long sword begins to fuse with its wielder, who is now him, so copying and absorbing the abilities of the Calixia Dragon longsword is now underway. Hanjun wonders what's happening, but the system announces that it's copying and absorbing the level of the Calixia longsword. It copies and absorbs the passive skill Defense, the passive skill Bloodsucking, and the Berserk passive skill. With this, it successfully absorbs all abilities of the Calixia Dragon longsword. The longsword's second unique skill, Berserk, has also been forcibly activated and inserted into him, making him scream as a blood-curdling power seeps into his bones. Ma-hyun continues fighting the Quaixia with Ji-young. Seeing that the beast is unleashing an area-wide attack, things have just gotten a lot worse. Just as the Quaixia is about to strike at the bridge, and then once again with an incredible strike, an incredibly mighty blow appears from down below. It takes the Quaixia by surprise, slicing it in two cleanly, shocking the other two. With the Quaixia defeated, the dungeon is cleared. Later, at the Japan Hunter Association, all the important people gather, including Ji-young. They listen to a report around 4 p.m. Today, due to the Rainbow Bridge dungeon break, there were numerous casualties and extensive damage. Fuwa Tokuo, a level 570 priest and the chairman of the Japan Hunter Association, tells everyone not to be so worried. They're about to see how the Quaixia was dealt with. Another man, Takeuchi Go, the guild master of the Midas Guild, and a level 701 swordmaster, heard that the association cleared the Rainbow Bridge dungeon about 3 months ago. Another man, Shinoda Makoto, a level 610 healer, and the guild master of the Great Sage Guild, explains that clearing it doesn't guarantee it will not collapse again. Two more men speak out, telling the Sage Guild to be quiet for once. This would not have happened if their man management had been proper in the first place. The other one knows that after this is said, they intend to officially request a transfer of the Rainbow Bridge management responsibilities. Ji-young isn't really into this conversation. She just kinda looks around the table and wonders if Han-jun managed to escape. Go smashes the table, saying that what he wants to know is the boss's respawn time. It should have been 5 months, right? What if Hunter Ji-young, who's been acting high and mighty in the association, actually failed to defeat Quaixia back then? What then? Ji-young just looks at him and sizes him up. She puts her hand on the table, which begins to violently vibrate, and then shatters the partition of the table completely, sending a bunch of debris around. Ma-hyun just creates a shield and drinks his coffee. The others here ask what she is trying to do. Tokuo calls out his name and sternly tells him that it appears his staff member was impolite, so he would like to apologize on her behalf. Go scoffs and notes that they are under incident. If she keeps abusing her power, it will catch up to her eventually. Ji-young scoffs and gets up. People say that seeing is believing. She thought it would be rather quicker to just show him, so he should understand her. What she demonstrated is the reward she got for defeating Quaixia last time, which is Shockwave. Ma-hyun, who has contributed last time, and this time as well, can confirm this. Ma-hyun knows she is lying, but he covers for her, noting that he hasn't had time to review the rewards yet, but he doubts it's a lie. Tokuo tells him not to be so humble. Because of his contributions, the damage was minimized, so they all thank him for their efforts by clapping for him, making Ma-hyun a bit confused. He understands as he looks at Ji-young smiling. She's still holding a grudge against him for interfering earlier, and he will make sure she pays for this. As for the one who stole Quaixia, he will definitely hunt that bastard down too. Ji-young's face then becomes stern as she considers why the dungeon break occurred in the first place. She'll take responsibility and investigate it herself. They'll also be questioning the guild that delayed sending reinforcements, which are in this very room. Since she's addressed concerns about her, she will take her leave, as she has no other business. Before she can leave though, Grant and Ares appear, with Grant noting that the meeting will continue. They are from the International Hunters Association, and they have an urgent message to share. Due to the dungeon break, the world's only Colisean Dragon longsword has been stolen. This happened during the transportation to an exhibit in Japan. They request their assistance in recovering the longsword as soon as possible. This is an official request from the International Hunters Association. Go doesn't understand when the trailer was attacked. Didn't he hear them unseal the trailer themselves? Ares explains that this was done in cooperation with Hunter Satoru from the Great Sage Guild and Hunter Hanjin from the Japanese Hunter Association, shocking everyone in this room. Makoto knows that name, Satoru. He is from their guild, and he will have to talk about this later. Tokuo, however, looks at the man he talked about from the Japanese Hunter Association. He has no records of anyone named Han-jun. Ji-young scoffs, and Ma-hyun laughs as it appears he will get his revenge sooner than he expected. He asks if they are talking about the guy who bound the Burman King with a giant spider silk thread. He saw him causing trouble at the site, but he is really surprised. He was convinced he was a member of the Hunters Association, so he asks Ji-young, what does this mean? It seems like they were both acquainted. The thief leader goes back with the longsword to his employer, Kurosaki Takumi, a level 301 dealer, and the guild master of the Dark Guild, Blood Tower. He thinks it's an amazing blade, so that instantly boosts the user's level by 200, and it recognizes the user by the pattern on the handle too. It was worth spending hundreds of millions to orchestrate that dungeon break. The thief leader is shocked, so the guild master really was behind the dungeon break. It's a real shame he lost all his comrades. The thief leader immediately gets on his knees and apologizes. During the final operation, he encountered a strange man, but he should not worry, as he is definitely dead. There is no doubt about it. Takumi understands and throws him a bag of money, telling him that he did a good job. The shares of his fallen comrades have been given to him. This is his reward. After that, he is free to do as he pleases. The thief leader thanks him very much. With this, he can report that the mission was a success. Takumi, however, tells him that the mission was, in fact, a failure. This sword is one of a kind, so who would be foolish enough to sell it for just $1 billion? He also planned to profit by selling information about the longsword, didn't he? The thief leader pleads with him to wait, as a failed mission in their guild means instant death. Before he can do anything more, he calls Takumi a bastard, as he planned to kill him from the start, didn't he? Takumi tells him that there are no bad feelings between them. It's just that the fewer who know about this, the better. This should be enough of a souvenir to take into the underworld, right? He strikes the thief leader with the blade, sending him flying toward a window, which he shatters with an amazing blow, cutting the thief leader in half. With this, the sword's durability goes from 10 to 8. Takumi slicks his hair back, noting that he will be in trouble if it breaks before he can get it fixed, but he is sure that will not happen. As Hanjun wakes up, he hears the words of the being that put the hourglass on his neck, telling him that this is a gift only for him. Suddenly, the hourglass turns slowly, causing the muscles around his neck to coil. He grabs that part of his neck, seeing that the hourglass flipped again. But why? Immediately, Satoru jumps into his arms, glad to see him awake. He thought he was going to die. Hanjun tells him to let go and not be so dramatic. Why would he even die? Satoru tells him that it was shocking. After he got hit by that guy and passed out, there was an enormous flash of light. Before he can explain more, another senior stands up from his bed, noting that he was the hunter at the Incheon Bridge scene, right? Satoru confirms as such, saying that he, his brother here, and his senior were there too. He continues, adamant and dramatic, explaining what happened to the other senior. Hanjun gets up and scoffs, really unable to get used to this guy's excitement. At the Hunter Association president's office, where they can get the privacy they need, the others tell Ji-young that Hanjun has died. Grant confirmed it, and he has witnessed it on site. Considering they were planning to scout him, she doesn't seem that surprised, or maybe she has other plans. Ji-young calmly puts her coffee down and explains that hunters always face death. It's a part of their job that they must accept. They cannot let their feelings be clouded by it. Grant just kinda looks at her for a moment, and Takuo notes that, aside from the official documents, it's true that they're involved in this matter, so the association will provide all possible support to recover the longsword. Ares tells him that if this is the case, he should just send a few high-level elite hunters. They've already known the location of the sword for a while now. Tokuo expected as much from their attitude, but do they really know the location? Is it some kind of location tracking magic? She explains that, although the long sword of the Calixia dragon isn't bound to the user, its unique characteristics have an imprint that recognizes the user's level. She can sense that imprint and track it. About an hour ago, the sword's imprint was detected, and the long sword was used. Ji-young's eyes closed lightly, as she did not have much information earlier, but they handed over the sword to Hanjun as if they were doing him a favor, weren't they? Ares continues. The last time she checked, the sword's durability was around 10, but now it's even lower. If this continues, Ji-young knows it will disappear. The only clue to finding her mother, who went missing 15 years ago during the catastrophe, is that sword, isn't it? Ares is surprised she knows that, but Ji-young tells her to relax. She didn't gamble to get the position of team leader at a hunter association. She also knows that the longsword is a keepsake of her mother. Suddenly, Ares gets up and bows her head, pleading with her, asking for her cooperation once again to help her find her mother's keepsake. It is the only thing she has left of her. After the meeting, Ji-young walks out thinking about Ares and Grant. Those two are definitely hiding something, more than they let on. The story of Hanjun's death is also extremely suspicious. He wasn't someone who died that easily, so it would be a pity if that happened. Suddenly, someone interrupts her thinking. It's Makoto, who wonders why she looks so serious as she leaves. Is it because she can go home or something? Makoto's voice becoming more serious, as he explains that it's time for her to return to their guild. Ji-young sighs. As time passes, more and more dungeons start to appear, but the major guilds that should be responding and overseeing them are instead setting up companies and treating dungeons as profit makers they can use to fill their pockets. Even today's dungeon break, if it's confirmed that their guild neglected these duties, they will be held accountable. That is why she is with the association. She still has a lot to do here, and she won't let her father stop her in any way. Makoto understands, his voice becoming more cheerful. He actually had another reason for coming, but he guessed he ended up saying something unnecessary, didn't he? Before leaving, she should go to the hospital first, as she might find something surprising. At that hospital, Hanjun looks at his stats, which have been boosted incredibly. Although he could not copy the exact essence of the Calixia dragon longsword, he managed to fully absorb its abilities and replicate them without needing the blade itself. He was worried about how to use it while hunting after copying it, but now he understands they are passive skills, and the Berserk one just activated in time. The Berserk skill allows the user's stats and levels to double. It has a casting time of 1 minute and a cooldown of 1 day. It forcibly activates when the user's HP drops to 25%. But thanks to that, he was able to slay Quaxia with a level of over 400 in one strike too. Because he defeated Quaxia, the monster's vibration wave is absorbed into his ability, and it also grows. The Quaxia's vibration wave has been absorbed into his Control C, becoming the unique vibration skill, and it was also absorbed into his Control V skill, becoming the unique pulse skill. The giant spiderweb has also reached level 2, so when using the giant spiderweb, unique pulse and vampirism can be used together. As he laughs maniacally to himself, scaring the people he's in the elevator with, he thinks that now that his copying ability has evolved, it can be absorbed and fused as well. Now he is a high-level hunter at level 276. He has grown so much. All he has to do now is find that guy who killed him and retrieve the longsword as well. Suddenly though, as he gets off the elevator, he hears Satoru scream, asking why someone hit him. Ji-young did so because she told him that he would have to run if he was in danger, with a rather worried expression on her face. Hanjun is surprised. He's never seen her act like this. Who is she even talking to? And why is she at a hospital anyway? Satoru explains that this would not have happened if they had stabilized the dungeon properly. Hanjun is shocked that he's speaking to her like that. Is he her brother? Or a neighboring brother or something? Someone he knows? Wait, they have the same last name, don't they? Could they be real siblings as well? He remembers the words of the senior that Satoru even threatened the association. It felt like something out of a drama, so he thought he was just daydreaming. But this guy is actually a real young master he can leech off of. Ji-young also asks where Hanjun is, and if he's alive, but Satoru doesn't know. Seeing that she is looking for him, he wonders if it's because he impersonated the association and lost the longsword. He turns away, as he definitely does not need this now. He needs to get the sword back from him first, and then proudly present it to them. As he turns though, he bumps into someone's chest. The person, naturally Grant, is glad to see him alive, since he's the thief of the Calixia dragon longsword and all that. This is really bad. Suddenly Grant grabs him and smashes him into the wall, making it crack. He deceived them by pretending to be from the association. He should kill him now, where he stands. Hanjun tells him to wait, as there has been a misunderstanding, but Grant refuses. He can walk around fine after being stabbed by a sword, and he calls that a simple misunderstanding? He was in league with that guy, wasn't he? Hanjun wonders if this bastard lost his damn mind or something. This has become really dangerous. He pulls out a sword from his inventory, and Ares asks him what he is doing. Grant tells her not to worry, as he is not going to use any skills here. But before dragging this guy off, he will just carve out the mark that should have been there in the first place. Hanjun does not want to use this kill here, and he can't respond in front of them either. So he copies unique vibration and sends it toward the sword, shattering it completely as it touches his hand, leaving it a broken mess on the ground. Satoru and Ji-young appear, having heard a commotion, but Ji-young is shocked. Is that the Keishia's vibration wave? How does Hanjun have that now? That she thinks about it? Hasn't his vibe changed entirely? He's kinda cool now, isn't he? That same night, an idol group is performing with tons of fans watching them. Afterwards, the group leader, Lee Seol-ah, waves goodbye to her team members, telling them to do well. She drives off in rather expensive-looking cars, with one of her teammates wondering if she's from a rich family or something. As Seol-ah swerves the vehicle around the corner, she suddenly has to stop because an SUV is parked in the corner of the road, forcing her to stop mere inches from the vehicle. She calls out, calling the one who parked there a crazy bastard. Suddenly, the door of the SUV swings open and Takumi steps out, looking entirely unbothered by the near collision. He's lugging a heavy metallic case that looks pretty expensive. Without a word of greeting or an apology for the roadblock, he walks over and plops the case down roughly onto the hood of her car. He leans in, his expression unreadable, and asks if her little debut show went well. He doesn't really care about that though. He cares if she's ready to go back to the dungeon and reverse what she desperately wants to reverse. It's her choice, but she was the one who came to him after all. Thank you for watching. See you next time.